Greetings, weary traveler, come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and of course, Tales of Tamriel. I am your host, Arkhaniir, and we have an absolutely fantastic episode lined up for today. Joining me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Lotus of Doom. How's it going, Lotus?
Things are well, and look at this, we're on time for once.
Almost exactly. Just 2
Almost
minutes late.
to the second. Yep.
Also joining us, the joy of the show, the giggle queen, HyperPixie. How's it going, Pixie?
Fantastic.
That's good to hear. Now, for this episode, we have two very special, amazing guests from the Unofficial Elder Scrolls Pages, starting with Pylawn, the UESP podcast host. How's it going, Pi?
Good, how's it going with you?
Good, good. I'm almost dead with sleep deprivation, but that is just usual, so...
So same as always.
Yeah, this will be a great episode. Also joining us, again from UESP, Alarra. How's it going, Alarra?
Hello. I'm good.
Well, as you can see, we have a 5-person show this week, so I don't know how long this will go. I don't know if I'll be awake through it all, but 5 of us here was at PAX East, so they have a lot to talk about, which means I can take a nap while they do that. Before we get to all that though, we gotta give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, the newest ones, Yor and Paul and Cleo Bushland. Thank you all so much for supporting us over at Patreon. I also have one more shout out for YouTube. We have a very dedicated new listener on YouTube called Danny, and he actually started from the very beginning, so he has about, I think, 500 hours of content ahead of him, and he's been actually commenting on every single episode, so I love you. You've been making my day with all your comments. Thank you so very much as well. And yeah, those were our shoutouts, which means we can begin with the show. We are skipping all the news today because
There's not that much in it.
Yeah, there's not that much, and we can talk about them in the upcoming days or weeks.
Yeah, some of the news will also just be our tales. Like, that
True.
was a lot of the news. So.
So, Lotus, since you are the backup host, and you've been to PAX East with the amazing 2 guests we have, take it away and let us bring into the Tales of PAX East before we begin with our actual tales. Have a good night, everyone.
And Ark is going to go snuggle up on the couch.
We're just going to make loud noises.
I was going to say we should sing him a lullaby.
Yep. Well, no, what we need to do is he'll doze off, and then right as we're about to close things up and he needs to play the music and save the files, we need to just all hoot really loudly to wake him back up, and he can just jar awake, smash a bunch of keys to end the stream, and then we're done. That's how it'll all close up. So we are pretty much the news of which to speak, and why we have both Pylawn and Alarra here from the Unofficial Elder Scrolls Pages is last weekend was, I actually kind of can't believe it was only last weekend already, but it was Bethesda Game Days and PAX East, to which I got to meet both of you in person. Alarra would have been on the /lurk winning trivia ESO team, where we have our sweet crowns. Mine's on a mud crab, but I'm going to take it off. We got our victory laurels, which were awesome. But yeah, we also shout out to Elder Memes as well, as he was also on our victory team. And Pylawn basically gets an honorary mention because, well, we used our lifeline on you for our team and you got it correct. And on top of that, you may have also answered something correctly for the other team, which we'll leave that part out. But
I stand by that decision.
Well, you did mention on your show that it was, knowledge for all, which I respect.
Exactly.
And since Finn lost, which FYI, you lost, Finn, just in case you're hearing this. I said I'd remind you of it, and I will. his superior kazoo talents could not outdo the rest of our collective sort of knowledge. And luckily, Pylawn is the only one out there with 100% correct ratio out of all of us anyways, since you got your 2 questions right.
Exactly. I'm perfect.
Yeah, there you go. But I would say instead of me talking too much about this, let's have, how do you guys feel about the event, since you're not really from this area, whereas I live pretty much in Boston? This wasn't too much of a trip for me. Both of you had a little more of an effort to get here, so.
So I was coming in from Canada, since if anybody doesn't know me, I'm a Canadian, so I had to hop over a border to get there, which was interesting given all the pandemic news going on right now. I don't think I've ever seen as many face masks in an airport in my life. But it was great. I didn't have any problems getting, once we got into Boston, the transit system was amazing. I actually just took a bus from the airport right to PAX and everything worked out perfectly, so I had no complaints there. But yeah, it was also my first time actually at like a Bethesda or ESO event too, so it was a lot of fun actually getting the chance to meet all of the different community members, getting to meet the developers. Like I never actually like met them face to face before, so like Lotus and I got to meet for the first time, and I feel like I talked to him basically every day. So it was nice to kind of actually like
it was weird that we had never technically talked prior to that event.
Yeah.
And then like a day in, it just devolved into us just becoming drinking buddies.
Exactly. That's how it works. Yeah, and it's funny too because I don't think we'd actually talked, but I listened to you on your podcast, and you listened to me on my podcast. So it's like we've had these like long distance like pen pal relationship.
I know.
For the longest time.
It's very peculiar.
How about you, Alarra? What were your coming in feelings?
I went pretty smoothly, I guess. I came from Wisconsin, so this bus ride to the airport and then flying. Better than 2 years ago when we got 12 inches of snow the day before. We thought we were going to get snow this time, but thankfully we had to get our plane de-iced on the way, so that was interesting, but other than that, went pretty smoothly.
They had to de-ice the plane.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so they take the process. So they take the planes it's like to a big parking lot basically on the side, and they have 2 trucks on the side with a big crane basically, and they just spray chemicals on it, and it melts the ice that's on it and prevents it from icing up, I guess.
And here I am thinking that was a completely normal thing that happens.
I've never heard of it before, and I kind of
so used to that.
It is a thing, because going to Vegas, Gan the Impaler was, I think, 5 hours late. He's also a Canadian, and the tires were frozen to the runway, and they couldn't even move the plane to redo it. Wow. And he sent us a picture where they were trying to get the stuff to clear off, because they were like, we can't even move it to get it out of the tarmac to get a different plane. And that's why he showed up like the day of the reveal, like in the middle, looking like he had run a marathon. And it was because it was like, oh yeah, sorry, you can't go. And then it was like, no, we thought out your plane, I guess you can go. Oh wait, but that plane's delayed because that one froze to the tarmac. And like he showed up on like the 11th hour in Vegas. Wow. It's definitely a thing.
I was kind of hoping the icing was made with, like, that's what I've imagined first, flamethrowers. I imagined people just flaming the entire place.
I was picturing, when they mentioned that, I was picturing like a giant car wash, so I'm kind of disappointed that wasn't it.
I was thinking men with like ice scraper things, like when we have to scrape the ice off your windshield.
Okay, so none of us have any idea about how it actually was, except Pylawn.
Apparently you guys just don't know what snow is. This is what I'm learning today.
Well, I live in Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say, you live in Florida. I don't like to fly, so I guess I just never see that. When it's snowing out, I just accept my fate of being indoors.
I mean, the last time it snowed properly in my city was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And by properly, I mean, it was just there for 2 days, like maybe a couple inches, and it was gone. I love snow, and I live in the only city here that doesn't snow. And it's been tormenting.
It's funny. Some people, because I know Rich Lambert loves snow, and he comments when I'll put pictures up of boots just sinking up to her ears in the snow, and he's like, "Oh man, send some of that my way." And I'm like, "You can have it all. I hate snow. I don't want this. You can have all of this snow. Enjoy. Knock yourself out. Give me summer. I want the beach."
No, man, I can't stand the heat. It's
I
hate it with my life. And it's coming.
See,
it's almost here.
I'm okay with heat. It's the humidity that I just can't stand. In Florida, we have a lot of it. So whenever we went out to Vegas, it just felt gorgeous. It's like, I don't feel like I have an elephant sitting on my chest. I can breathe now. And it was just the most ridiculously exciting thing whenever I stepped out of the airport and was just able to breathe for the first time, ever.
That's true. You do kind of live in Black Marsh.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why I like Arkhaniir so much.
I see.
I like Tales of Weather.
Yes. It's the weather cast. I don't.
Tales of Adventure, Tales of Climate Change.
Exactly.
I mean, you had to know this, that we would not be on track throughout this entire show.
No, I'm on board for this.
You guys are much more organized than we are. These tangents will somehow blunder their way back into things eventually. Sometimes it takes 15, 20, 2 hours. Who knows? It's always a
Sometimes
surprise.
3 episodes.
Yeah, 3 episodes. We bring it back to hey, what were the news from January?
We're just gonna have to keep coming back slowly.
So yeah, the only side effect that wasn't so great from PAX East or Bethesda Game Day. When I refer to PAX East, it's basically just not PAX East itself. It's just Bethesda Game Days, because that's the thing of importance, with relevance to this show. Mm-hmm. Very little was related to ESO this time, and I think a lot of it was because this year it was very early, which was strange. The end of February is a peculiar time to do this.
Yeah.
Last year it was the end of March. The year before that, I believe it was end of March. It hasn't been February in a while. I'm not sure what the reasoning is on the events end, because Bethesda Game Days just syncs up with PAX East. And every now and then they do it really early. And I just don't think anything was prepped for.
Yeah, Rich and Jess both mentioned at different times that Rich was like, "Yeah, we really wish we could have shown these guys some Greymore stuff, but it's February."
Right. It's it's not ready. So
yeah.
So that's unfortunate. The game show was entertaining.
It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, we did
It's fun to participate in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was super fun to be part of. Those questions were way more challenging than I was expecting. I really liked the things where they provided stats that they've been keeping track of behind the scenes that we have never had access to, like how many mud crabs have been slain in ESO since launch. That nobody would know that unless you have access to that. But it was kind of cool that they did that, where it's it's take your best guess and go from there.
I love to have at the first round with Alarra, Finn kept picking up the numbers and throwing in the proper ballpark numbers, and then Alarra just responds with lore, where Finn is they don't know. It was back and forth.
Golden locks.
Yes.
Yes.
I think the only lore question the team FU Finn knew was answered by Pi. It was
that might have been.
I actually think that is correct. I think
That's
you
funny.
got
I
their
didn't even
only
realize that.
lore question right.
and that's
Surprise,
how I
the
actually
dungeon
knew
lead is
it
better
was.
at mechanics and stuff than he is at lore.
That's actually how I knew it was Pi, because so when Lotus met you, he actually sent us a picture with you being taller than Lotus. So I knew it was okay, Pi is very tall. And then you got up to answer a very specific question. I don't remember what it was. But it was this very tall person walking up to answer a very specific lore question. I was like, that's gotta be Pylawn. because I couldn't see your face on the stream. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Pylawn.
Yeah, I didn't know where the cameras were either, so I was like, I don't know how I should approach this so I don't look like a complete dweeb, but I'm going to just walk up to the stage, no idea what was going on.
Well, to be fair, on the stage, we didn't know where the cameras were either. We had very little like instruction other than put on the headset and talk into it.
Yeah, and Alarra got there, and she's like, there's like 3 headsets or something. And like, which headset should she put on?
Yeah, one on the side, one on the back of the chair.
Yeah.
So, well, Pi, you said this was your first ESO or like Bethesda related event, right?
Yeah, like of anything at all. Like I haven't been super involved in the community beforehand. I've been playing the game for years, but I didn't really start the podcast until last year, so I didn't really have a reason to go to any of these things.
Also, something broke Pixie. She's trying not to laugh as far as I can see.
UESP in chat just said, "Did you know all you staff team members are sent to a secret island location where they are taught the greatest war secrets? Only 3 out of 10 survive." For the sake of looking over there.
Yep. I love their did you knows. Little did you know that their behind the scenes are exceptionally brutal.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah. It's basically the Hunger Games. That's how I became the podcast host. It was just I was the one that survived out of there, and I was good.
Well, I assume you, since you're so much taller than everybody else, you just reached all the pens and paper, took them away, did all the answers, and nobody else could reach them. So they were just eliminated by default.
It's funny too, because I would say if I had to pick one memory of PAX that really sticks out in my mind is meeting every person that like from the community that I kind of knew, and them responding with, "Holy crap, you're really tall."
Yeah.
Which is basically every time I met somebody new, they were just like, "Oh, you're really tall." And then like we sent a picture of me standing, I think, with Pete Hines. We posted on the Discord, and literally I just look back at the Discord. They're like, "Oh wow, Pylawn's a tall boy."
Yeah.
And then AKB tweets out a picture of me and just like, "Did you know Pylawn is 6'5"? That's all. That's the only thing that the.
Yep.
See, that's
Yeah,
why.
the
That's why you
opposite.
have to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I had the opposite reaction in Vegas. I'm 5'1", and everybody came up to me. "We see why you have Pixie in your name now. It makes total sense."
Yeah. I that like, because like I have mentioned before, you and my wife are literally the same height, which I was like, oh my God, there's several of you that are super, super small. But then on the flip side, I was under the impression I was like average height, which we've gone over where we're back to the height cast because now we have the newest, tallest edition of the show. So that's just it. It's like we were a little blown away that I was like, oh, I guess I'm taller than a lot of people. And then you compare me to Cash, who's got like a few inches of height on me, and then Pylawn, who's got many inches of height on me. It's like, see, it keeps getting taller. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
that's it. We gotta start a basketball team in addition to a podcast.
all right, yeah.
I played
Yeah, Pylawn, who
basketball in
is
high
taller
school.
between you and Elder Memes? Because I know we were saying that both of you guys are really tall.
Yeah, Elder Memes is a tall dude, too.
Yeah. I think I was tall. I know someone made us stand beside each other, and I think
he's
was taller, but I
6'4".
don't remember.
No, I think he's 6'4". I think you're an inch
Again.
taller than him, too.
A very large part of my time at Bethesda Game Days was talking about my height and comparing it with other people that we were standing with.
And we are
Yes.
just repeating that here. It's
Exactly.
Great
No,
guest
it's,
And now we're doing
experience.
it again.
to be fair, we were drunk the majority of Bethesda Game Days. So, I mean, it's probably best to have a full recap.
That's true. I don't actually. When I got there, one of the fun things I met Lotus. We were talking. He got me in.
Oh no, I can't hear him.
Neither.
yeah.
No one could hear me.
Yeah,
Now
it did
There,
okay.
now we hear you.
Told you,
Hey.
live show, dumpster fire.
Live show. The recording's fine. It shows
Yep,
up in there. We'll be
exactly.
fine.
The recording will be fine. We'll make a bunch of references to it on the recorded track. People are like, what are they talking about again?
Oh,
Why
it's
are they
probably
referencing
Discord.
it?
I'll fiddle with the settings. But I met Lotus. He like got me in a little bit early because I was just wandering around PAX, and he was like, "Oh, come, it's already open," even though I didn't think it was. And then I got there. I hadn't been back to my hotel or anything yet, so I was like, "Hey, Lotus, I'm gonna head back to my hotel, unload all of my luggage, and I'll come back in a little bit." So I went back to the hotel, I checked in, and then fell asleep for 5 hours.
Five hours, about right.
And just never made it back.
I think it was Alarra you pointed out. You were like, I don't know if Pylawn's coming back.
Right.
And I was just like, yo, what happened to him? He's been gone for a really long time. And you messaged me at 8:30 or 8 o'clock, and you're like, yeah, I just woke up.
I fell asleep. But it was good. I didn't fall asleep during any of the actual ESO stuff for the game show, and none of the Elder Scrolls team was there on Friday, so I didn't really miss too much. Good.
So they didn't actually reveal, only ESO related thing was the trivia, right?
Was the trivia, and they just showed the trailer commercial pre and post the show. So there was no new information. It was more of just kind of acknowledging what they've talked about. And that's pretty much it.
They also are giving away coins for Greymoor.
Oh, yes. That was the other thing.
So it's got High King's Fargrim on one side and the Wolf of Solitude on the other.
Yep.
That is my favorite coin at the moment.
Yes.
It's really cool.
Also, so for our audio listeners, I have to say this. So Pi has actually, I'm gonna wait until he puts his headphones back because
until he's done ruining this part.
This is amazing. I am so happy right
now. So Pi has 3 of the Alliance banners behind him hanging in the wall, right? And what I did before we started the show, while I was setting up the cameras, because the cameras are widescreen, but our overlays are square. So obviously I cut out the AD flag off the screen and left the Ebonheart Pact and the Daggerfall Covenant one. So what Pi just did is he just made me rearrange the cameras, because now I have to fix it again.
There's a significant amount of work to be able to beat this now, because I was like, I could just move my camera a little bit. I'm like, then he could probably just prop it reading again. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get up and actually move my room around just to mess with
it out again, which he's already actively doing.
I was gonna say he's actively changing it.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is a cat and mouse game that's never gonna end.
No.
I'm just 8 hours into the podcast anymore. Completely, I have somebody on my side.
I think Alarra also has AD
Dominion.
characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So there's actually
you
3
guys played
AD.
Dominion, right? Yeah, that's. Is it generally all of you? I don't remember if you've brought this up on the show. Do all of you play AD largely on UESP? Do you all choose wrong, or is it just
I think officially the guild is a Daggerfall Covenant one.
No,
okay.
I believe the guild, I think Baratron I saw in chat was there, but we'll know the exact answer. I think the guild itself is AD. But on NA, EU, I think, is Daggerfall Covenant. I'm trying to remember which other guilds have different ones, but I'm pretty sure we're AD. Oh, no, we are DCs. There, Baratron is in chat. She knows.
Oh, perfect. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Sorry, all my characters in the guild are AD, so I just didn't.
Where is this? We should not have started the whole ESO podcast fam thing. This is Lore Seekers are AD. You guys are AD. It's like who is packed? Are we alone?
Say, there's us as packed. Kyle Dempster is DC, I believe.
Yeah.
Red Diamond Cast is DC. I don't know.
I think.
Yeah, this is not an ESO podcast fan. This is an ESO podcast war starting.
But see, this is the reason why I have all 3 banners behind, because I don't actually care.
See, that's whereas I actually just mine's in front of me, so it doesn't show up on stream because I need to remind myself regularly how awesome the EP is. So it's me staring at it.
I mean, it's fine, Lotus, because I mean, you and I currently are not representing the Pact visually, but Pixie is doing that for us with all the red.
Yes, with her nice
she
red
is
background.
rocking in the room, so this is fine.
The yellow looks white, and white is boring, so I made it red because red is my favorite color. That all Mary Dominion had red as their color.
You just haven't accepted that you're actually part of the Pact.
You're in denial. You're in it'll pass. It'll pass eventually. You'll be cured. Don't worry. There's
It'll happen one day.
No. I don't
Fight the
think
good
even
fight,
the Tales
Pixie.
of Tamriel
Fight-
Twitter. The Tales of Tamriel Twitter just put out that amazing Queen Irene appreciation.
Oh my god, that got way too much traction.
yeah.
I think it got the perfect amount of traction, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think I'm in the right place, and you two will be the ones who are converted. And I'm just easing you into the idea by saying, "Look, I'm nice. I have your color behind me now." And assimilate.
Spies everywhere.
I just like I was just one day I was just bored one day and I was like playing ESO and I just I got to the character screen and I was like I need to send this to Ark because I realized my main is an Imperial who is decked out in full eagle gear on the Eldmeri Dominion and the only mount and pets I ever use are Gwar.
Good
That
lord.
was one of the worst
Just
images
an
I've been sent to.
abomination.
That's
Yeah, I was like I'm just gonna send this to Ark. See what he's
So I swear the only way I got on this podcast is because the first time Ark was ever in my chat, everyone in chat was like, "We all hate Gwar." I was like, "Yeah, I don't really use Gwar. They look like derpy T-Rexes." And he just completely spaced out the fact that I was Dominion. Because I was currently on a DC tune because I didn't have any
yeah.
race
You
in
were
the
playing a Breton, and you said you also thought Guars are weird. So I was like, okay, perfect candidate for Tales of Tamriel. And then you never played a Breton. You just unleashed full-on AD propaganda. How did we end up here? How did
Maybe
we
I
get
am a
here?
spy.
Now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did we get here? What
Because
happened?
Pike tried to put the yellow flag in camera again, but I'm not letting it. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the night is young, friends. The night is
He's just gonna wait until I'm full asleep.
yeah. Move it back. That is fine.
Yep.
So,
Uh,
question: what was your favorite thing about, if you had any, like if you had a specific thing? What was your favorite thing about your first ESO event and meeting everybody?
So, I can show you my favorite thing because I need to like publicly Lotus of Doom because while I wasn't actually part of the show, we got down the show and we were talking about it, and that one of the prizes was they gave out Wrathstone from the ESO from the Elsewhere chapter. And I was looking at Lotus. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome! I always wanted to get one of those because I told him I'm from Canada, as we discussed earlier, and shipping from the Bethesda gear store is atrocious to begin with. Now you add international shipping. I'm sure Ark's had to deal with this before too. You try to buy anything, it was like, so they showed the Wrathstone. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that. I think I'm gonna get it. And I thought about it for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna get a collector's edition. I'm just gonna get the Wrathstone. That's gonna be awesome. Then I went to go buy, and it was like $85 Canadian. So it was pretty expensive, but I was like, it'll be fine. And then I went and put it in my cart, went to check out, and it was $100 in shipping. And I was like, okay, nope, that's not worth it.
I don't think it was $100 to here. How
It
was
was
it?
$100 CAD.
Oh my
And I was
god.
like, I like, is this a joke? Are you playing with me here? But no, so Lotus won the Wrathstone, and then he's like, oh, I already have one of these. So he gave me his, which was very nice and generous of him. I tried to offer him a pair of headphones in turn, and he wouldn't take it.
No, those were very sweet headphones, but no, I appreciate it. I'm glad I went to a new home. It was a shame that you didn't already have one. I was going to say, I've got mine literally right here as well on the desk. I'd click it together, but everybody will go deaf because it's so
Yeah, it's real loud. I did
It's
it on
real
the,
loud.
I think I did
My
it on the
wife plays with
UESP
it.
show.
No,
and
yeah.
it's just like, oh,
It's super loud. Yeah.
yeah. It's
We
real
were
bad.
watching a movie when I first got it, and my wife doesn't really play video games. She just kind of supports my ridiculous habits. And she's like, oh, what's this? And she's just remagnetizing them on the couch over and over and over and over again. I was like, all right, I'm going to take those away from you. Please stop summoning dragons. Like, that's
Okay,
enough.
now actually, I'm curious. You have to do it now. I'll edit it out if necessary, but I have to hear.
I'll do it far enough away from the mic.
No, do it close.
Are you guys doing it together?
Yeah, ooh, we can do it together.
Okay. 3,
That's one way to hold on.
2,
Mind, there we go.
1, go.
Okay,
That
so
is a satisfying sound.
Yeah.
And that's like 2 feet from the mic. Like I'm doing it off screen. It's so loud.
To be fair, it also, I just looked at it on like what it looked like from our perspective. It actually, it looked much more like we're putting them together. That was just me moving it close enough, and then when it snapped together, that was the effective magnet range. It's actually, those magnets are no joke.
I also had never looked at the bottom of this before, and I just realized I have 1347 of 3000.
Oh.
10 away from having leaked. Rastone. It's like, my gamer cred is completely thrown out the window now.
Oh, I didn't realize they were numbered. Actually, Alarra's, yours got sent, right? You shipped it.
Yeah, Zas is gonna ship it to me because I didn't trust it in the airport. So,
wise decision. Yeah,
I brought mine as a carry-on. Like literally, I got an extra like bag from the gear store. I asked them if I could use one of the big ones, and I literally just had like the Wrathstone. I had my like Greymore coin, and just like put it in through security with me, and I just like didn't let go of it once. It was great. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna let me take that on the plane or not.
Wait, this Unleashed Dragons. I don't think it's a good idea to have it on a plane.
The Boston Port Authority is gonna be real mad at me when all of a sudden it's like, "Oops, dragon."
Oops, only dragons.
Yeah. But in honesty, the actual like favorite part was actually getting to meet everybody from the community and the developers for the first time. Like, I got to talk with Finn for the first time, and he is one of the most passionate and just like awesome individuals I've had a chance to like talk to. He was like so fired up with like people are just asking him question after question after question, and he was loving it every second of it. He was like, oh this, and then like we're just like, oh, so like what's this? He's like, oh, like this, and like he would tell like his thought process behind everything. He was just so excited. And at one point during the Doom Eternal demos, we had to have Jess come up and be like, guys, quiet down. Because we were just both getting so hyped up about all of like the different like dungeon mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah, Baratron's yelling, "You were too loud." We were too loud. I fully admit that. And Finn said like, "Oh yeah, this is a common problem. It's also a common problem of mine. Is we both have booming voices." And Finn calls it his Irish whisper. He said, and I'm like, "That's the same problem I have at work because I'm in a big open office. And no one has ever not known that I was in the office when they came in one day." So. It was fun, but just seeing like the passion, just getting really into it, and just like, oh yeah, this is why I did this, and this is what you can do, and it was just so fun to talk to everybody that was passionate and really wanted to be there.
I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah, no, he is fantastic. Like that dude is just so funny.
He's so funny.
Just in general, the thing with the kazoo, which I learned on my bonus round that I don't know how to play a kazoo.
We taught you.
You did, and so did Rich afterwards. It was like, Rich, well, you weren't playing it either. He's like, yeah, I just wasn't going to play. He's like, what do you think? I'm going to match Finn on a kazoo contest? He's like, I have no chance. And I was like, well, I would have at least just made a really, really loud sound until I ran out of breath. And he was like, oh, yeah, you got to like hum into it. I'm like, God, I had no idea. I thought you just blow into a kazoo. Never used a kazoo. So I thought mine was broken, and I was really let down. But again, he knew the entire Undaunted song via kazoo, so I mean, there was no completing that.
I don't even
Finn had that
doesn't surprise me.
I love that moment. I went and I watched it afterward, and when he starts playing and kind of dancing, like you all guys just turn your head one at a time to look at him. It was just the funniest thing.
Yeah, we were defeated at that point. It was like, we give him the point, he wins.
I think at that point he was actually winning too.
That was what pulled him back in. To first, because we had some back and forths, specifically the one for anybody in the Dungeon Crawler Network that apparently found us, me and Stormlords, who was on the other team, arguing over whether Black Marsh as a whole should count as a correct answer. When he was like, well, Murkmire, and I'm like, well, what if when I was talking to Rich off to the side, I was like, well, it could be Murkmire. He's like, yeah, it sounds like a Murkmire thing. I was like, but what if it's like a trick question and it's actually just in Shadowfen, like in base game? And he was like, I don't remember, man. He's like, they're fish. And I was like, yeah. I was like, what if I say Black Marsh? And he's like, Black Marsh isn't on the map. I was like, these two things are technically Black Marsh. He's like, whatever. I made the game. That should count. So we put Black Marsh. And
I made the game.
so I was trying not to laugh too much at his response, and like when he brought up, he was like, "Oh, it's Murkmire," and we just had Black Marsh because I figured that should cover either base, and then several people clipped and sent me pictures of me explaining "Show me Black Marsh" on a map where I pointed at both at the same time. Whatever, I still think that counts. And then it turned out the answer was the Gold Coast. So it didn't matter at the end.
I was laughing so hard at that.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, that was a very heartfelt argument between the two sides of Dungeon Crawler Network for you both to be incredibly wrong. And it's like, yep, that's what we do.
Oh my god.
There were some really good questions.
There were. Some of them were layups. Some of them were pretty tricky. The immunity thing screwed with me. What are the two ways to get immunity in ESO? And I knew race was one of them. I had no idea you can build immunity using glyphs.
I didn't know that either.
I still don't know how you do that.
That was my thing, and I've been trying to look it up, and I haven't spent enough time doing it. I still don't know how you do
resist
that.
On.
I was going to say, can you cap your resist to the point that you can become immune, maybe?
Because I couldn't figure out how to do it either.
Yeah. So
I thought there might have been a skill. I was thinking my one thought, because I knew the race.
Right, that was the one that I was like, okay, what race?
I was like, I wonder if Shield Wall grants any immunity or something like that. Like one of the morphs from one of like the ultimates I thought might have kept something, but
yeah,
doesn't.
I
use it all the time. It's just
Right.
Shield Wall is automatic blocking and reflection of projectiles. That's it.
Yep.
yeah.
So no, I actually still need to look into that more because I meant to check that fully because I was like, you can do that? There seems like there's potential for me to do something super cheesy that I don't know about yet in dungeons. So
yeah,
the one I wish I would have been able to get was the challenge round. We had to go back and forth and name something that started with S in Elder Scrolls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Any other time, I probably could have done it easily, but when you're put on the spot, everything just went out of my head.
You're like, S. Antler.
to that note, Alarra, that email we got afterwards when the Gina and the Zos team thanked us for being part of it, and they're like, oh, it was a huge success, and they said there were over 15,000 people watching the thing. I was like, really glad you didn't say that before we went on stage, because that would have been like, I don't mind making a fool of myself in front of people, but yikes, that's a lot of people to make a fool of myself in front of.
I mean, I can barely handle streaming in terms of spotlights, like being on camera and being on recording. Being on stage at Bethesda game days without actually collapsing, that in itself, like you don't even have to talk or answer or make sense. Just staying alive on stage, to me, is a feat. So I applaud you guys for that. You survived it alive.
They made it very, very fun. So
it was amazing to watch.
I'm pretty sure if it was me, I would have just sat up there and smiled and just giggled when they asked me questions. I don't think I would have been able to form words.
Just nod and laugh.
Exactly.
I find the key for any form of like public speaking or like presentation is just accept the fact that whatever you're doing, you're going to look and sound like an idiot.
Oh yeah.
And then you just kind of stop caring.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I'm going to look like an idiot anyway, so I might as well just have fun. I'm being attacked.
I mean,
I just see a tail.
Yep, there's just one Khajiit tail that keeps doing laps.
To be honest, the entire like Zas team is the goofiest developer team I've seen in gaming anyway, so that in itself is comfortable enough. Especially Finn. I don't think I've ever met any developer of that level, that goofy, which I love, which is why I love teasing him, and he keeps burning me, but that's fine.
It's amazing, and I love it so much every time he does it.
He's quite good at comebacks.
He's always on point.
He does it very like low key as well, so you can't say anything back either. He's like, I'll get to it when we come to Tales, but
well, I was gonna say, I guess we could kind of just do. Is there anything else of note from the event that anybody has? Like,
actually, I think you are one of the very few people who actually got to meet her, Lotus. But you got to meet the Skyrim grandma.
Yes, I did. I got to meet Skyrim grandma, Shirley Curry. Is it Curry or Curly? I always say her name wrong. Curry. That's what I thought. All right, it's Curly. So she was super, super nice. She was. I had mentioned to. She had a post of out in front of on the PAX East main floor, the Magic Legends, I think it's called, because not enough games use the word Legends as a moniker. So why not have another one? But basically, it's Diablo using the Magic card game as a basis. But they had a really cool exhibit with like the fake fire and stuff like that. And she had a post of that, and it was right after I had went. So I was like, oh, no, I just missed her or whatever. And I commented on her thing. She's like, oh, well, I'll be at Bethesda Game Days tomorrow. Just come say hi. She's like, if I'm not paying attention, just like poke me in the side and say hi. That's why I'm here. I was like, oh, you sound like me, where I'm like, I'm hyper unobservant. Like, please just come up and say hello to me things because I'm not paying attention.
I'm the same.
So I did. And she is so nice. And if you're listening, Shirley, because apparently you knew what our show was, which gives me the impression that you've actually listened to us. I don't know why, but thank you. That is an incredible honor.
It definitely is.
Yeah, because I introduced myself and she was like, oh, I don't recognize. I was like, it's fine. You don't need to know who I am. It doesn't matter. I was like, your stuff is just funny and I really enjoy it. And I just mentioned, she was like, okay, so what are you like from? And I mentioned Tales, and she just mentioned it. She's like, oh, I love Tales. And I'm like, oh my. Like, that was not what I expected. Like, but yeah, she was super nice. In the same group of people as well. I got to meet Camelworks. It was Camelworks and shoot, what's the name of? He's doing Skyblivion.
Kevin.
I don't know the name.
I'm about to get dog attacked.
It's just pet attacks tonight. Kyle.
Perfect. Yes, that's it. And Boots was actually remarkably quiet on that. Yes. So him as well. Got to meet all of them. Thanks, Boots. I really appreciated that. As I say, you were quiet, then you bark. Borf, borf. Yeah, all right. There you go.
UESP, Kyle, Rebel Size.
Yes. So they were the ones who organized her page. Boots. God damn it. Yeah. They were the ones who organized the... All right. Somebody take over. I need to control my dog.
Okay.
I don't even remember what he was talking about anymore.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Boots has been lured away by my wife. So what I was saying was that they were the ones who organized the effort to raise money so that she could go to this because she wanted to attend. So that was actually on them. Boots, really? So cats are so much quieter.
You would think that.
That was what I was saying, was that it was the group of them that tried to like organize the effort to get her there. And I'm really glad they did, because it was a pleasure to meet like all three of them.
Man, I ask these questions, and when I get the answer, I get more jealous. So it's an infinite loop. So
yeah, we have to get you out to one of these soon.
One day. So behind the scenes, we've been working on teleportation technology. So if that doesn't work out, I don't know. Well, I mean,
just come move in with me. I've got room.
One day.
I'll
I
was going to say.
Attempt it.
That's what our Patreon is actually going to. So many of you have chosen to re-support us again now that we've got it back up. The goal is to work on quantum physics and teleport Ark to these events.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that
see no
sounds
problem
like
with
the
that.
easiest way
Yep.
of doing it. So
exactly.
yeah, I mean, other than just firing up the private jet that Dungeon Crawler Network has, but it's
We
the
just
only...
keep on standing by.
You want to save the environment, though.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is with the Dungeon Crawler jet, is it's fine, but it's frozen in the tarmac, so we can't actually use it.
See.
Nobody has any de-icing.
No, we can't afford that.
Only
We used
we
all
knew how to
Patreon
de-ice
money
a
to get
plane.
the jet.
We're
If we could-
fresh out of flamethrowers.
Yeah.
Also,
need to, like,
we fear
rewind or
that we fear that the jet also works as stable as our shows, so it's a little of risky to
Going down
actually...
immediately before it gets off the ground. Great. The wheels come off during takeoff.
What? The wheels have never come off during a show of Tales. I don't know. Production value.
Yep.
As I'm literally being attacked by a cat right now.
Yeah, I know. So literally Boots' face is in my hand because it's the only way I can keep her like
Hey, I'm doing the
at
same
moment.
thing.
Yeah.
My
So
cat has been banished because he ended up jumping on top of my PC and turning it off one day.
so it's a pet assault this episode.
See, your
Yeah. At least I don't have to worry about that with the fish.
Little did you know,
That
Alarra.
would be wild. Fish just jumps out of the fishbowl and like starts slapping around on
Yep.
top of the PC.
It demands that it's from the Gold Coast and it just attacks.
Nobody knew about you.
Why didn't you provide us the answer? But the only other person, actually, I think we pretty much shouted out anybody on staff or not staff, but other community people that we got to meet. One other person who is just at Bethesda proper. It's not really associated with ZOS, but I wanted to actually shout out Manny Perez, who is the associate community manager. I wanted to check his exact title for Bethesda, and he's been working on Doom a whole bunch or whatnot. Ooh. But he found me at the start looking around because I'm like, yo, where's the lines? Because it was just a mess of people out front. And I wasn't too sure where I was supposed to go. Much to my surprise, he recognized me and was like, oh, hey, Lotus. And I'm like, hey, Manny, what's up? And he was like, you look very confused. You'll want to go stand over there so that you can not wait in that line, but instead use that line. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then once we were in there, he was nice enough to talk to me for a while. But the thing why I wanted to specifically give him a huge shout out was he introduced me to literally like everyone on staff that he could find and was like, oh, I love your guys' show. It's like super entertaining. I'm like, I can't fathom you people choosing to listen to us. It is very flattering. But yeah, so big shout out to Manny. My picture with him is the one where we went into the side area and he busted out the prop Doom guns that he had squirreled away from like their filming event. And he was like, oh, dude, we're going to take a picture with these things. And I'm like, oh, this is super entertaining. So yeah, it was also a pleasure to finally meet him in person. He's an awesome dude. It's I Am Jiu-Jitsu on Twitter if you want to know who he is. He's a very nice guy.
Also, Pi, you just got 40 bounty for what you just did.
I don't know what you're talking
Remember
about.
the flags
The
again.
amazing thing is, I guess I was looking at Lotus while he was talking because I looked over at chat and saw Delta over here saying, "Quick, Art, get on fixing that camera." I'm like, "What happened to the cameras?"
Okay, how about
And
this?
then I look up and the flags are moved. I was like, "Oh, you are stealthy and amazing. Thank you so much for fixing that, Pylawn."
How about this?
Unacceptable.
We
I don't know
get
what you're talking about.
half a blue and half a yellow, and we
Okay, we'll call it a truce.
yeah,
All right,
there we go.
So we've got the Ebonheart and then the
Half of others.
No, Stormlords are purple. Fire Drakes are orange. What's the green team? Oh, the Pit Demons. They're
Yeah.
the Pit Demons. So there you go. You've got the Ebonheart pack and the Pit Demons. That's who we've got on screen for flags.
But yeah, there wasn't a ton of Elder Scrolls stuff at Game Days this year, which was a little, not disappointing, because I knew there wouldn't be. But it just would have been really cool to see some. Got a lot of tons of swag, though. That was cool, like these banners. Yeah, got a new sweater. It's a Elder Scrolls sweater. I think Lotus has the same one too.
I got the Greymore shirt.
Yep.
You got the Greymore shirt?
You got the Greymore shirt. Yeah, that hoodie and the Greymore shirt are the ones I got from Vegas. Yeah, I love that t-shirt.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
Also,
I strictly... go ahead.
Sorry, gotta read what Rock Fan Chris said. Your show is very entertaining and sometimes it has a bit of quality. Thank you, Chris. It really
That's very
explains.
Backhanded compliment coming across right there.
All right, go ahead, Pi. Sorry if I had to cut you.
I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Something about...
T-shirts and hoodies.
Oh, right. I was going to get that t-shirt itself, but I didn't think it was discreet enough to wear at work. Because it's like, why do you have this giant fanged wolf on your chest every day? I thought it might be a little bit aggressive for wearing office.
So I actually have a story about that happened this week. So I do wear that shirt because I just rock the nerd gear all the time. And my coworker comes up to me who does not game at all. And she's like, "Where did you get that shirt? I want that tattooed on me."
Wow.
Wow.
I was like, "This is a video game shirt." She's like, "Where did you get it?" I was like, "You can get it from the Bethesda store, but I got it while I was in Vegas." And she's like, "I need that as a tattoo." So you're gonna have some very confused Elder Scrolls Online fans trying to talk to you.
Now she has to start trying to play. You've just introduced her to her new favorite hobby.
You make her get the tattoo first, and then she's forced into playing.
So that's funny because I was telling people that's like literally the story of how I started playing Elder Scrolls Online. I went to Fan Expo in Toronto, which is kind of like PAX but a Toronto version of it, and it was right after Elder Scrolls Online launched. And one of the community people there was like, "Hey, do you like Elder Scrolls?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Here, have this," and they gave me a lanyard and a free bristleback piglet, I think it's the pet. Bristlegut, that's the one. And I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks," and threw it in my like con bag and just like kept going along. And then like 2 years, and like I tried ESO, and I didn't really like it when it first started. So then like 2 years later, I was cleaning up my basement, and I found that like card that they gave me with the code, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe I should install and see if this thing still works." So then I was like, okay, so literally because I had a free code from a game that I didn't play is what started me into playing ESO, and then I just like continuously kept playing.
That's
the
amazing.
The most solid basis of getting into an MMO that takes thousands of hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I got this free code for Piggy.
Pure marketing. It's like I just want them to know that giving away free pets works. It gets people to play the game. So therefore, keep doing it. Give me more free pets.
He just needs like one pet for every 3 months of gameplay. Need to refresh it. Sacrifice.
I'd be down for that. Just lots of Guar pets.
Well, we get a pretty pony pet at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's true. We do get a pretty pony.
Not even the end of the month, in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, because it's another short month because of console launch for Hero Storm.
Can we just talk? I actually want them to continue just doing these 3 weeks of
That would
login.
be amazing.
Yes, please.
So much happier with this. I don't feel like any FOMO. I'm like, I'm still logging in every day that I don't have a reward. I'm like, keep doing this. It feels so much more rewarding and better.
It does. I completely agree with you.
I'm so bad at logging into ESO sometimes. I mean, the only reason I got the Flame Atronac this month, the last month, I was like, it was, I don't remember the day, but it was the end of the month. And I was like, wait, hold on, I forgot to log in. And I missed the Flame Atronac pet. And then I logged into the game. And I was actually able to, like, claim it. And I was like, wait, how? It's supposed to be March. How did I get it? And I look at the date, and it's 29th of February. I got saved by the leap year. And I was able to redeem that because of that. So I'm really bad. Like, sometimes, even during the weekend,
I'm the same.
I don't sometimes log into ESO because, I mean, I stay up all night through Saturday to Sunday morning, as it is almost 8 a.m. right now, recording Tales. And then I sleep until I'm not dead. and then I start editing the podcast. So I basically most of Saturday and Sunday I never really log into ESO. I just forget it. And having these 3 weeks rewards, it's actually very helpful. So Zaz, I agree with Pi, please. Also, more leap years. Like, we gotta have leap years every year.
More days. That's fine.
Leap year.
Yeah.
That won't screw up our calendar completely.
No, everything is fine.
It's fine. It'll work itself out. I mean, people choose and not choose to work with daylight savings time, and we haven't technically doomed everything yet. Now we'll just start adding and subtracting days.
It's daylight savings time tonight.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So you guys are actually gonna time travel mid-show.
Yes. I was going to say, well, it's at 2 a.m., so we have 2 more hours. The show would be freakishly long if we time travel mid-show. But we were talking
that long before.
That's also
Ranger.
That's also correct. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Yeah, is that?
Well,
that technically
that
quote unquote news?
I guess, yeah, that's sort of can be counted as
that's
as
news-ish. It's very news-ish.
Trying to think if there was anything else of note from game days.
Yeah, because there was such a heavy emphasis on Doom Eternal coming out and Wastelanders for Fallout 76, which is, their main pushes where we're still waiting to hear Harrowstorm stuff. Well, you guys have it on PC. We have it Tuesday on console, but it's like they didn't really do much with that, and the next set wasn't ready yet. I know there was a plan to do more at E3, but just in general with that, PAX went off pretty well, even though Sony, CD Projekt Red, and part of Square Enix were like, nope, and they just pieced out from the whole thing because of the coronavirus. Yeah, and GDC got scrapped. I just heard the other day that TwitchCon Europe got canceled.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we are going to get more information at E3, because I wonder if there will be an E3.
A lot of people are thinking it's going to get postponed.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's still a good amount of time.
There is. And
well, here's the thing. I mean, if they can't do the event, they will most likely do a digital conference on their own. I mean, Nvidia is going to do that for GDC. I'm pretty sure the other companies will do the same, because they have scheduled announcements. Like, they have to announce the new series of whatever they are going to announce on schedule. And just because the event is cancelled, they can't postpone the announcement because they are going to release the product into the market. So they will just do a bunch of digital, conferences. The thing is, if they realize, and if it actually happens, that digital conferences attract the same amount of people while costing a lot less, we might actually, see a decrease in the number of actual conferences in the future because of these turn of events. I don't know.
Yeah, but the big pull for like game dev is, because I've been to a few before, it's networking. That's the real reason anybody actually goes to them. Like, the announcements are kind of like a secondary part of them. Most people are going to talk to other people in the industry and have conversations and like that. So I don't see them really going away, but I think 2020 will be the year of kind of like the conventions and conferences being canceled.
Yeah. Also, do we have any Bethesda or ZOS related event between now and the Greymore chapter release? So like end of May.
Nothing that I know of.
Yeah. I mean, no intentional shade being thrown, but I mean, they do also give us like a 2-week lead up time to most of these things. Like, they did not talk about Bethesda Game Days, even though it was pretty assumed it was happening for a long time. And I mean, even with the Vegas event, we had like a month, I think it was. Mm-hmm. It was like surprisingly short notice. But I know that from what I understand at the event when I was just talking to them, is even though they had known I feel like they might have said even in like November, they knew who they were doing like the Vegas event. They were like, we couldn't chance it leaking because then that would kind of shoot ourselves in the foot in its own promotion. And I'm like, that does make sense, because if you're trying to like keep it on the DL and then you're like advertising like community meetup, it's like, okay, what are we just having an arbitrary community meetup in Vegas about something that we're not going to talk about? Gee, I wonder what's happening.
The nice thing though is that now that they've done it, they could do it again. And like give more notice and stuff like that, because like, hey, we did it, we're doing another community meetup. There might be some news, wink wink nudge nudge, but community meetup, everybody come hang in Vegas.
And they did send out a survey after the fact asking things. One of the questions was, if ZeniMax reserved a block of hotel rooms, would we be interested in getting one of those hotel rooms at the group rate? So it sounds like they're thinking of convention-style things in the future, which I'm super excited about.
That's awesome.
I definitely want to go.
I mean, at this point, ZeniMax should have its own, I don't know, ESO
Bethesda con
or something. Yeah, it's like
QuakeCon,
but for ESO.
Ooh.
Because the community at this point is so, like, it feels like everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
So, a full just, like, QuakeCon, but just for ESO.
QuakeCon is a thing.
Yeah, but I know. That's why we have to have a ESO specific one.
But isn't
Not that I'm going to
Elder Scrolls
attend
is part of
anyway,
Quake, isn't it?
No,
Well.
we'll have time travel covered by that point.
Well, is there anything else you can remember from PAX?
Hey, you guys were both lucky and won the raffle stuff there.
True, I did win. I won a Fallout 76 Steel Series headset.
Yes, and I
Wait,
won a bunch of Doom stuff. I actually forgot about that. I've got that needing to be framed. I think I have number 21 of their like signed lithograph doohickeys from the Doom thing. I actually forgot we got pulled for this. So yeah, we also won those.
That was a profitable
you guys have
event.
insane RNG.
So I have very good real life RNG, but then whenever it comes to in-game RNG, I can't win. Like, I can't win in my life. Like, we're currently, I looked at it, I'm at 147 total crown crates I have bought in my history of ESO, and I have never once seen a mount.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
wow.
not even like a legendary mount?
No mounts. I've never seen a mount come out of a crown crate. The only ones I've got is the ones that I've actually like bought with gems, because I get tons of gems because I never open any like Apex mounts or anything like that. So
Yeah, there's
in-game
even one-
RNG.
There's even one time during the podcast when we were talking about that, and AKB had ESO streaming while we were talking, and as we mentioned that, he opened right with a mount with it.
Yeah, literally, he opened one
Yeah,
crate
he won a mount.
and had
as
an
we were
Apex
talking about
mount.
it.
Like, he had like I think it was even like the Radiant Apex. It was, yeah. So
I mean,
even like AKB had a ton of things, so he would end up sending me over crates, and I'd be like, oh, let's watch this. Let's watch me open these. He's like, there's no way you're not going to open them. Nope.
I was gonna say having RNG in real life is better than, you know, having
It's
RNG
definitely
in
better.
the game.
Yeah, it's
But I mean, you said 154 crown crates. That probably
147.
147. That probably costs a lot more than everything you won in real life with your real life RNG.
It's fair. Actually, no, that's probably not true, because I won an entire Corsair computer rig once. So,
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay. Wow.
so that probably, that like, I'm still like riding
Wait,
that
have
win
you-
after like selling stuff and like upgrading, and I'm still like riding that one like to profit.
Have you joined the RTX 2080 Cyberpunk Edition giveaway of Nvidia?
I did.
Okay, you have to win that then.
I hope I do.
Even I joined it, and Turkey isn't even eligible.
It's not
for
even
it.
eligible.
But it doesn't say in the tweet. So if I win, I'm gonna get ugly. I'm gonna be like, your tweet didn't say you're not eligible. Or I'm just gonna give Lotus's address and like,
yeah, let's just ship it to
have it-
me, and then
yeah.
we'll figure out where to go from there.
Right into your PC.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. Yeah,
Just kidding, we wouldn't do ours like that.
No. Tell me about how much you dislike Guars again, real quick, Ark. No.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I see how it is. I'm gonna send it to Ag. At least we agree on. Wait, he loves Guar.
No, he's part of he's part of Cult of the Guar.
I'm surrounded
who
by.
you have left.
Yeah,
who
you got the
left.
AD
You have the
spy.
Thalmor sympathizer.
Listen, it's the second dimension, the one that's in the ESO, which I think is the second one. Maybe the first, based on a fact that UESP posted earlier, so I might just be all confused. Irene is cool. Her followers are cool. Not the Veiled Heritance, not the Fourth Dominion Thalmor. There's a distinction. I like the good guys.
Iran isn't cool. She's just naive.
She's amazing.
She's not fit to be a leader.
So easy to get you guys back on this.
I like the
It's
alternative.
just like
time.
instant.
Oh no, it immediately devolves. It's like a little switch. Immediately devolve cast into fighting over alliances.
I don't even know if we come up with anything like super new each time, because I know Ark always goes to Queen Irene's naive. I'm just like, well, she's also Kate Beckinsale, so.
Which is a strong counterpoint. However, on the flip side, I stand by the fact that I like the alternative timeline when she got shanked in the ribs and is just left in a stream to die in the AD alternative storyline when you're doing like the dream sequence. That seems fine to me. That seems
I forgot about that.
no reason for it to be a dream sequence. We'll just go with that. Like,
Wait, I've never did the Aldmeri Dominion storyline, but who initiates this dream sequence?
it's in the final section in Reaper's March, I believe. I think.
So is it like via Mina or something? Like the days of
No, it's basically you're helping. Yeah, okay, it is. You're helping the main. You have to choose who to crown as the main, and you're helping them through their fight off their doubts and all that stuff. So you go into a dream sequence, going through the previous events, talking through the Green Pact section with the Green Lady and everything like that, and then you have the one with just Green Aren, and it's like, oh, because so and so was chosen as the main or whatever, this went south, and she it's supposed to create self-doubt, and she's just bleeding out in a ravine. I'm like, this is cool. It's fine. I like this main choice. We're good here. And
okay,
so what a terrible fate. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna move on from here. We've made the right choice.
What was
what you will, but at least I'm not that murderous. I don't have any ill will towards the other two leaders. Okay, I'm dying in a stream, so I think you guys are kind of.
I don't have any ill will against Iran. She just simply shouldn't exist, along with the rest of them. I mean, it's not.
I'm not
ill
gonna lie. I got confused for a second there, and I was just listening and I kind of tuned back in, and it was heard you say she was shanked and was left dying in a stream, and I thought you were talking about Pixie while she was streaming, and I was like, wait, what alternate reality where Pixie got stabbed in one of her streams? I know America's got some violence problems, but jeez, guys. Calm down.
No, we don't shank each other. We shoot each other. It's totally
right.
This is now a perfect Tales episode with total delirious,
Yep.
Oh,
you
this
guys
is
fit
perfect.
right in. It goes right in with the flow of wait, what were we talking about? How is this wildly out of context?
I don't remember.
I think I just pulled a grenade and just yelled "I'll bury Dominion" and just threw it into the conversation. We just saw what happened.
Shipping the GPU, and you said they
Shipping the GPU.
Holy crap! That started on shipping a GPU.
When he said that he can't trust you or Ag because of the Guar thing, I said that leaves him with me, and then we went on the all very Dominion.
Actually, it figures you want to hold on to that GPU, Lotus. It's yellow. You probably love AD as well, like you love Guar.
Shots fired.
Deleting call.
You deserve
He
it.
could use that GPU in his PlayStation 4 real well as well.
Just jam it in the back. If you just push it into the cooling fan, it works, right? That's how computers run. You just smush it together, pour a little Gorilla Glue on the top, and it's good to go.
Glue.
I think that's how it works.
Oh, all right.
Breaths.
Deep breaths. Especially
Hey,
you,
Pixie.
Pixie. Sometimes I'm
Guarella
I'm
glue.
worried that you'll just
He's gonna use
run out of
Guarella
breath
glue.
and just die laughing. I'm like, maybe we should stay quiet so Pixie can catch a breath.
Also, the Guarella glue is... that is a 5-point dad pun right there.
Dad jokes make me laugh harder than pretty much anything else. For some
Well
reason,
done.
that is my weakness.
Well done. I appreciate that very much.
I'm scared to take a drink now, so I'm just going to set that down.
So I guess at this point, with
That is the end of
very
packs.
yeah, that was very on point end to the news. I think we really got to the heart of what we were talking about without any
We haven't even
derailing.
started the news. There's been so much happening this week.
Yep, that really got to the heart of the matter. So so should we actually get to Tales? And
Yes.
Ark, you were surprisingly more awake than I expected. Why don't you start this? Because I'm literally expecting, like, every now, like, I keep looking at the clock and I'm like, he's still conscious. How is he still conscious?
See, there is one point in my sleep deprivation that I just start a new day. So if I can stay up awake until that point, my brain becomes so delirious, it forgets that I haven't been sleeping, and it instead initiates a new day, and it's like, we must be rested since the sun is rising. And this is when we usually wake up, so we just slept. And I am entering that point, so it's fine. I have a few more hours in me that I can go without dying. But yeah, since I'll start. I was gonna actually let Pi or Alarra go first, but I kind of want to start first as well because F you Finn. Want to get it out of the way. Want to get it off my chest.
It's pronounced Foofin.
No,
Yes,
not to
we
me.
found out on the show. It's actually called the Foofins.
Yeah, that's canon now. Sorry.
Yep. More canon lore.
So Hero Storm Dungeons obviously released on PC and not on consoles, Lotus. And I decided to run them blind with pugs, which went fine, surprisingly. But as I was running it, I noticed that Finn was in chat. So I was streaming it here on DCN channel, and Finn was in chat. I was like, okay, this is good. This is my chance to, trash talk Finn live with him in chat. And it was good. But again, I ended up being the one who got subtly trash talked. And not by him either, but by his mechanics. Like, everything was so perfectly timed, he didn't even have to say anything. It was like his dungeon was doing it right on time for him. So first we did Ice Reach, and Ice Reach went fine. And then we moved on to Unhallowed Grave, right? And without revealing the mechanics, there was one mechanic, I think it's the second boss, that we just couldn't figure it out. So we were trying, we were just wiping constantly, and Finn is in chat, like every time we go, like, what is this? We don't understand it. He's like, we showed this to you 3 times before this fight. And then I realized the part that they were teaching the mechanics, I was too busy doing slash bucket splash on the statues that were teaching the mechanic. So this goes on for a while. So the group starts to look it on YouTube, and I read it off the group chat. They were like, okay, we gotta do this. And I read it out loud. I'm like, okay, so apparently we gotta do this. And Finn is in chat like, no. And we try, we fail. And then people in our group go onto YouTube, like they read our Allcast article and are like, okay, we found this. We gotta do this. And Finn is like, no.
I liked the one where somebody was like, oh, we have to do it this way or whatever. And his response was, you watched a bad YouTube video.
Oh, yeah. That was, so someone watched it. He was like, okay, I watched the YouTube video, we gotta do this and this and this, and I read this out loud, and it's like, he watched a bad YouTube video. That's the... So this goes on for a while, and we actually managed to figure it out with some help from Finn, because it was like, look up! And we actually looked up and was like, oh, grapple points. So we go past through that, I keep trash talking Finn at every chance I get, and he's like, get good. He does it so subtly. He doesn't say get good, but he's like, he says something so specific, and you are a failure at the specific thing. It's just one of those things, like, I wish you had hit me instead of, just subtly crushing my soul like that, but it goes on for a while. I come to a boss. See, there's one thing I hate in these dungeons, okay? My characters are always very heavily armored giant Nord tanks, right? So whenever a boss knocks me back or something, I get pissed. And whenever there's a mob that is taller than me, which is those freaking giant Khajiits, I don't know what they are called, but one of the 17 types, I guess, I hate them as well. There we go. Yeah, I hate them. So,
when in doubt, ask Alarra about Khajiit first off.
So I get to this boss, and just before that, I get knocked back. So I'm like, and it's one of those usual knockbacks. And I'm like, nobody pushes me around. As soon as I say that, boss does this attack, and it bounces you 3 times, like a ragdoll. And as soon as I finish the sentence, no one pushes me around. I get bounced around the ball 3 times. I'm like, Finn, F you! And I actually said the word instead of F you, but since it's a family-friendly show, I can say it. And he was laughing again, and I don't remember what he said, but he said something that made it even worse again. That F you, Finn. I love him. He's the best. I also hate him very much. In addition to that, so just yesterday we ran both dungeons on veteran 3 DPS 1 tank with Drunkenborns. Went as usual with bunch of shenanigans, and we tried the hard modes. They are rough. So I was saying that both, so the Ice Reach and Unholy Grade, they are on veteran easy enough, but on hard mode, the difficulty change between just veteran is insane, especially in Unhallowed Grave. We started hard mode 3 times. I died within the first 5 seconds 3 times.
Oh my
So I was just like, yeah, no, not doing this today. I don't know what's hitting that hard. I haven't figured it out yet. Also, the puzzles and the hidden paths in Unhallowed Grave is absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to say anything about it revealing, but definitely take the time to explore it. It's worth it. And that is the end of my tales for the past 2 weeks. Pi and Alarra, which one of you want to go first as to what you've been up to in ESO?
Alarra does.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so I've mostly just been doing the Murkmire event and just getting my daily logins. I've been playing more Legends than anything lately. Just trying to climb up the ranks.
How's Legends doing?
It's in maintenance mode, so they're not doing any more updates to the game. So,
But
it's
what
still
about the
fun.
servers? So are there still?
it's still, yeah, it's still up, and they're still
That's
doing
good.
the weekly events on the weekends, which I need to enter one of these times. I haven't been entering a lot of those, but
So,
yeah, it's still going. For now, they're still doing monthly rewards at least.
do you have just on a side tangent, Alarra? Do you have like excess event tickets or anything like that, or the gold to use on them? Because a really lame trick that I found for the weekend events is I had tons and tons and tons of these event tickets. I start the event, I make a deck, and then if I don't have time to play, I just let it expire, and it considers you entering, gives you all the prizes for participating, but then it doesn't actually require you to do anything.
Yeah.
And the payout is usually your event tickets back, plus decks of cards, plus some gold, plus some
cool.
soul gems.
Wow.
So it kind of turns into a wash, and maybe sometimes costs you like an event ticket or two.
I've done that
Okay.
a number of times too.
Yeah, the thing is for me is with the current version of the game, you have to build the deck at the start of each event, and that's the part. It's like, do I
Yeah,
really
that's
want
what
to spend the
takes
time
time.
doing that? So that's the main reason I haven't been entering in these events, is just because I don't want to sit and build a deck every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the mechanic of Elder Scrolls Legends, but never really got into it because it was just so much to do, as it is with card games generally. Like, you gotta figure out which cards are better, you gotta figure out the deck and everything, but because it uses at least the main, framework of Magic the Gathering, which I love over, like, Hearthstone or whatever, it's such a great game, but I wish they had continued the development before, or rather until I decided to hop on in. But I guess if it's still active, I can still do it, but... I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can still do
Yeah.
everything that is currently in the game.
Alright. So, anything else you've been... It's not
That's
limited
really
to
about
ESO or other games. Like, it can be all of Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, that's really about it for me recently.
Alright. So, Pi.
Legends binge.
Let's
What about
I'm
you,
trying to
Pi?
think for me. But actually, I've finally gotten back into Elder Scrolls Online. I kind of stopped playing when my PC died back in November or October. I kind of drifted off playing for a little while because the Mac version is atrocious and just wouldn't work. So I've been back into playing again. I've been streaming it. So I did some streaming on Wednesday night. Actually, I did it. I was streaming, and the Lore Seekers podcast rated me like midway through my stream. And first of all, I can't repeat the words that were used to describe their raid.
Correct.
That was amazing.
It was funny because like I had been watching their second anniversary episode before that, and then they came in and they're like, "Hey, this is the raid." And I was like, "Oh, that joke didn't die. Cool." But it was a lot of fun. I was really grateful for that. So it was like at one point I went from like having like 20 people watch me just do pug dungeons, which also I've decided pug dungeons do not make for good TV. Because we sat there in, I'm trying to remember, what is it? It's Blessed Crucible. Is that
Right.
the 2 for an hour?
Oh my
Trying to
god.
do it.
Oh,
Because-
no.
Our DPS was so bad, and we just couldn't do it. And I brought Lost in Hyrule with us, who was like, he's pretty new to the game, and he healed, and he was able to keep everybody alive, but we couldn't kill anything. I was like, this is just awful. I can't do it. So we brought in Benefactors, one of the guys in the UESP community, and he joined us. And then we randomed to do another dungeon and did Blessed Crucible 1 and finished it in about 15 minutes. So we're just like, yep, nope, that was the problem. Okay. So if anybody is looking for a Wednesday night dungeon group on PCNA, please message Pylawn after the show because I need friends to do a dungeon group with because it's atrocious pugging it. Because I came from... I've never actually had a good dungeon group in ESO. I've only pugged stuff. And I used to play WoW a lot. And so I thought veteran dungeons were the same as heroic dungeons. So just when you hit max level, you had to do vets. I thought was just the rule. So I'd been pugging vets since I started playing Elder Scrolls Online and doing pug DLCs. Like I think Pug Imperial City Prison made me just rage quit. Because it was just so bad. And I was like, why are these so hard to do? Like they shouldn't be this hard. I'm like, I don't think I'm this dumb. But maybe I am. Maybe I'm just this terrible at it. And I was talking to someone. They're like, well, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I was doing a pug vet ICP. And they're like, you're an idiot. No one wants to pug that. That's a death trap there. And so I've been doing dungeons again quite a bit and streaming. I got my Voroplasm pet by grace of logging in to do the dailies during PAC. My roommate, Tatanka, who I was staying with, slept in a little bit, and because I'm a dad and I'm used to waking up at 5 a.m, my brain wouldn't stop me from waking up early. So I just like woke up and like loaded up my shield and just started playing ESO, just like grinding out the strong boxes for the Murkmire event.
Yeah.
So I've got my little COVID-19 that follows me around now. He's adorable, and everybody seems to love touching it and just spreading the joy around. So, so a lot of fun there. But yeah, other than that, just PAX and podcast. If anybody, did we actually do an introduction? Does anybody know who I am and why I'm here?
Yeah,
I just
did
realized that.
say
I'm pretty
host
sure.
of
Yeah.
Okay,
UESP
I was just thinking about that. I was like, wait, does anybody know who? Like, who's this weirdo?
It's
Just
so to
we're
be
talking
fair,
to.
we've been at this for
Like
two
an hour and a half
hours
now?
or whatever, or an hour and a
Yeah.
half. Sorry, yeah, an hour and a half now. It all just starts fading into the distance. So you'll forget what happened 10
Yeah, so
minutes
the
ago. We'll start
UESP
repeating it
podcast is what I'm
ourselves.
spending most of my time on, working on that. So that's pretty much. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've done in game. I didn't open any mounts in the crown
That's-
crates this week.
Mixing it up by not
Um, It's not really news anymore. It's just my like Sisyphusian fate of life, where I'm just going to continue to roll my boulder of crown crates up a hill and wait for it to fall
Yeah.
back down as soon as I get close again.
I was going to say, you just get random potions falling out the side.
I've got so many potions, and then I get super excited because the bonus crate will come up and it'll like hover over and it's legendary. I'm like, oh, maybe this is the one. It's like grand experience. Cool.
Grand
The one thing I
face
don't
marking.
care about in the
Sweet,
game anymore.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just what I want.
Just what I wanted. More experience scrolls. Other than that, what have I been doing? I played some Skyrim on my Switch again, which is less Elder Scrollsy, but I started
do you-
getting back into that.
How do you like Skyrim on Switch?
I prefer it on PC, but I don't want to play on PC while I'm sitting in an airport.
Yeah, it's cool that it's portable.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it is portable and lets me play Skyrim somewhere that is not at my desk is awesome and worth its weight in gold.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I just want to go explore that world again, but no mods, no Creation Club, none of that
Oh,
stuff.
doesn't-
mods.
It doesn't have Creation Club either.
It doesn't even have Creation Club, no. So it's a little bit different there.
Hmm.
So that's probably the
Interesting.
only big downside. But again, like I just wanted to play a vanilla Skyrim. I just wanted to go through the main story again and just like be in that world because I haven't really done it probably since 2012. So like 8 years is a long time since I've actually been in there. So all the quests, I'm like, I forget how to do this stuff. So just go back in and experience it basically for the first time because I'm old and apparently don't remember things.
Like your own introduction.
I don't even remember that. I
Sweet
don't even remember
senility.
breakfast today. Yeah.
I still have
Yeah.
to set up the VR, Skyrim VR thing. Like, I bought it. I got a VR from a friend because he upgraded to Valve Index. So I had my eyes on his Oculus for a long time anyway. But, like, I thought I would play Skyrim first. I still haven't even launched it. I don't know why. I think I'm afraid of the disappointment. Because, like, I have a GTX 980. It won't run in VR with all the mods I'm planning on smashing on it. So now I'm waiting. So I got the Skyrim VR. I got Oculus Rift, so I could play Skyrim VR. But now I'm waiting to upgrade my GPU so I can play Skyrim VR, but with a lot of mods. So now I'm in a deadlock and the VR is just sitting there.
Yeah, it's something I want to get someday. I don't
Yeah,
know which
yeah.
system I'd want to get though, like as far as the Valve Index or the HTC Vive. There's just so many out there, and I don't really know the difference or which one's best.
Well, I think Valve Index at the moment is the best in terms of like resolution, like visual quality, hand tracking, controller, but at the same time, it is I think over $1,000. So
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
that
Plus,
is-
you need a
definitely-
beefy PC.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
comes
it
with
is
a price
very
tag to match
expensive.
it being the best.
Yeah. I love the Oculus Rift though. It's for what I want. It is pretty enough. Also, another thing with VR is that I have to put on contact lenses before I can use it, which is very annoying, and I'm lazy about it. So I didn't think of that when I got it.
Anytime I've tried it, I've ended up getting like really queasy. So I'm like, it's just gonna be something I'm gonna accept that I'm not gonna.
Yeah, some games are good. Some like if you fall from somewhere or rapidly descend, like from a flight of stairs or something, your brain goes like, "We are falling," and then your body goes like, "We are not falling." So you end up like, "Whoa." It is a weird feeling.
It's kind of like it on the VR topic, but not necessarily the Skyrim thing. There's actually a VR bar by where I live, and it just has these like VR pods that you can go into. They provide you booze because that obviously will mix well with VR. By the way, they've had to replace several screens already because, spoiler alert, that's not a good combination. However, bar is really cool, and we went there, and one of the things we tried was there's this game. It reminded me of it because it's like an elevator. You can go like up this elevator to different tiers, and we put my wife in it. We were like, "Yep, it's totally fine," and she's not a gamer to begin with, so she's like, "Oh boy, this is kind of freaking me out." So it goes up to the top, and the top level is 5 stories up, and there's just one wooden plank that goes out above the city. And your objective is on the end of the thing. And she's like, "I don't like this." So she's like stepping, and she keeps trying to like peek under the headset, but we're like, no, don't cheat. You have to try to do it. So she's like stepping, and then she's in like, obviously we're allowed to see on the big screen what she can see, but she's on this like catwalk thing. And she's like, and she's like scooting out very, very slowly. And I was like, okay, so now you need to get to pipe over there. There's no pipe. It's not a jumping game. Like, it's just to go to the end of the thing and look around. But we wanted to see what would happen when she fell.
Oh no!
So
me and my friends are like, yeah, no, it's over on that. She's like, well, how do I get there? And we're like, you got to jump and you got to try to land on it. And she jumps and she hits an invisible wall because the game doesn't expect you to do anything that's stupid. And she plunges like 6 stories to the street below. And we were expecting her to like scream or something. And instead, she just defeatedly like put the controllers down and looked really sad as she fell to her death. It was like, that makes me feel worse than if you yelled. I was like, so, but she was like, yeah, that kind of made me queasy. I don't think I want to do that anymore. I was like, yeah, I can understand that. So it seems like if you get motion sickness at all, height really will mess with that.
Now, the only time I've ever done a VR thing, I was at the mall, and they had this, like, VR ring set up, and you had to stand the entire time you were in there, and they had a dinosaur hunting game. I was like, this sounds kind of interesting. I just want to see what this headset's like. And they put it on me, and, like, as soon as the dinosaur comes out or whatever, you hop in the back of a truck, because you're going to ride backwards in the truck for the rest of the game. So my character sits down in the truck, and I'm facing the back. As soon as the truck starts to move, I immediately fall forward and have to catch myself.
Oh, no.
I didn't fall all the way down. It was just like a very dramatic stumble that had my son and my partner just laughing like crazy. because they could see what was going on the screen, and they saw that I was falling off of the truck in real life. And it was just bad the rest of the time. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed looking around. Not so much the dinosaurs jumping on me, because apparently I have awful aim with a gun. But whenever the truck first started to move and I almost fell down, I was like, oh no, I need to be very careful.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the first time I tried it, but at PAX East 2 years ago, there was a demo, and like it was hard to get used to the controls to like teleport yourself to different spots. So I'd like, just try walking, and I'm pretty sure I almost knocked over like the side of the like demo area.
It's amazing how your brain is completely tricked. Like, I stumbled, like almost fell a lot of times trying to lean on things that aren't there. Like, there's a table and I try to lean on it, and instead I'm like, no. It's so strange. Which is why I'm waiting on putting mods on Skyrim, because I'll be seeing all the textures up close. And vanilla Skyrim textures, even though it's a beautiful game, when you see them that up close, they are gonna be ugly. So I want like some heavy modding on it before I can try it. But yeah, GTX 980 barely run other games on VR. Bare minimum. Anyway, Lotus, I assume your Tales are suffering.
It's just over, Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna let Pixie go first and let your suffering be the last, be the final nail in the coffin of this episode.
So I too had an encounter with Finn. So I also had the bright idea to run the Harrow Storm dungeons on launch day completely blind, but I was not brave, I guess would be the preferred term, to be Ark and pug them. So I actually had a pre.
No, not brave. Dumb is the.
I mean, I was being nice. That was an olive branch for the little argument earlier. So I actually pre-formed a group, and it was really, really fun. Ice Reach went by pretty quick. I think we cleared the whole thing in 30 to 45 minutes. We attempted hard mode a couple times, and oh my god. So the dungeon went really smooth until we activated hard mode, and then it was just insane. And I don't want to give away any mechanics. So the hard mode is just crazy compared to the rest of the dungeon. So we cleared it non-hard mode, and that was fine. And then we got into Unhallowed Grave, which is significantly more difficult, at least to me, than that Ice Reach. And we just got stuck, I think, on pretty much every single boss except for the first one. And then the boss that caught, since you said look up grapple points, that boss we got stuck on for a long time.
Yeah.
And we just fumbled through it and eventually accidentally got the mechanics right. So we didn't actually know how we beat it. So we were going up top. So that wasn't the part we missed. It was a different part of it, and it'll be a little bit more clear to people who have done the dungeon a little bit later whenever we do this the second time in the same night. So we accidentally beat that boss, and we moved to the boss. I think it's the one right after that's easy, and then the one after that is really difficult. Another grapple points boss, where we didn't realize one of the mechanics and just kept insta-wiping. I think we died at least 20-something times on that one boss alone before, but it was very quick death, so it wasn't something we were grinding at forever. It was just like...
Well, that's good. They're efficient deaths.
The insta-death phase hits, and we were just dead, and we had no idea what to do, and there were a couple people in chat who were like, we can give you hints. No hints. This is blind. We will figure this out eventually. Because we were really strict about this is blind. And so eventually we figured it out, and we cleared the whole dungeon. Last boss is amazing, and I really loved the dungeon. But about halfway through, our original tank had to drop. So we pulled in another tank friend of mine who finished the dungeon with us. But because he hadn't gotten the first two bosses, he didn't get the body marking. So we're like, you know what? We can stay up a little bit later. Let's get you the body markings. Clear the first boss just fine. Get to the second boss, the one that we just accidentally beat before. We still had no idea what we actually needed to do. At this point, Finn enters the chat. And I was like, okay, this doesn't have to be a blind run. We already cleared this. We obviously already have some idea what we're doing. There's just one thing we're very confused about, and that's kind of the main mechanic. So we're like, Finn, how do we get this boss to, let's say, interact with this thing? And I said we pull her over there, but for whatever reason she seems to be on a timer, and we can't get her to do it again because she's doing it too early. And he said, oh, it's not on a timer. And that was the hint he gave, and I was like, oh, so there's something we have to do to get her to do this thing. And he's like, yes. And I was like, honestly, I've already cleared this. I have the body mark on to prove it. Can you give me a little hint? Like, something other than that. And he's like, yeah, you already cleared it. Sure. You go up and you interact with her by pressing E as if you're trying to talk to another NPC. And I, for some reason, because every interaction I've had with Finn, he's been super he liked me and was showing pity on me at this point because I had the death counter. We were up to like 40 deaths or something like that, 40, 50, somewhere in there. And I was like, oh, so we just have to talk to her and ask her to stab. And so I walk over and I'm just mashing E. My brain, whenever it doesn't say press E to interact, says the game is lagging. I just need to mash E and eventually it'll register. We had a pet sword. So I figured the Flappy Bird thing was in the way. So I just start mashing E like a crazy person and died. I look over in chat and Finn is just dying. He is so proud of himself. And I realized what I had just fallen for, and I was like, wow, I am incredibly dumb. But the way he phrased it, he didn't say go talk to the boss. He was like, you interact with the boss by pressing E, and it sounded like a mechanics explanation. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, but apparently the boss just doesn't like to talk, so don't do that. That's the only hint of that mechanic you'll get from me. But we ended up giving up on that boss. So he did later go. We all had to go to bed and get up for work the next morning, but we wiped in there several more times. And it was hilarious. He was so much fun to have in chat. And I think he told us a couple other things too, or anytime I would make a guess, it was just, maybe. And it's like, thanks. But that was a great time. And then since then, over the last couple of weeks, I've done both dungeons several more times. I did find, with the help of my tank who ran it with me the first time, Lego, he showed me where the secret. So I got the face markings to go along with the body markings. The dungeons are super unique. So Ice Reach was quite a bit easier than Unhallowed Grave, but it was incredibly beautiful to look at. It was extremely detailed. And I took so many pictures in that dungeon. And it was really cool because at the outside parts, if you look around, you are in Skyrim. A part of Skyrim that we have not seen in ESO. And just looking around and taking in the mountains just built up the Greymore hype so high for me. So that was my highlight for that dungeon. Mama C just looks awesome also, by the way. And then with Unhallowed Grave, the mechanics are just so unique with the grapple points, and the bosses are just incredible. I love the boss. Even though I feel like I could... with the exception of that second boss, I feel like I could pug that one and it would be okay. Ice Reach, I feel like I and not want to put my head through my monitor. Because you can pug any of these dungeons. You just really hate you. But
So me.
Exactly.
If you hate yourself, like Pylawn.
And apparently Ark, who also did this.
Yeah, it's good. Ark, who could be asleep at the moment, is living proof.
What?
It looks like he's drifting there.
Yeah, I was going to say, who is living proof that you can pug your way through these. But I think we startled him awake, so...
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I sort of did drift off there for 2 seconds, resting my eyes.
That boring.
No, what it was, I shouldn't have even mentioned his name. You were drifting a little bit. Everybody was very let down that there was no thunk last episode when I brought it up.
Oh, I'm actually
close. We were close to a thunk.
I am really good at falling asleep without any visible change in how I'm sitting.
Yeah, you just kind of tilted your head down. That was the only giveaway.
I once managed to fall asleep standing in the subway, actually moving train. I was just standing, and next thing I know, I woke up, still standing, thankfully.
Wow.
That is impressive.
So yeah, but all right, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's early.
But yeah, other than that, I ran Ice Reach a few more times to of Hades. That seems like it's going to be a really good healer set. Excited to finish that out and try it. Tonight, I actually worked on my DPS, leveling my DPS a bit. I made a pet sork a while back that has not gotten any attention from me. So I played on that to mix things up a little bit and had a really good time. I had some help from chat telling me how to actually DPS things, because that is a completely foreign concept to me. But other than that, I was just running the Harrowstorm stuff over again because I love it.
They are definitely nice. I like Unhallowed Grave is a fresh breath of air, I suppose, on how the dungeons work with all the like hidden mechanics, general like the whole grapple thing. Like I can't talk about it. I'll save it for a few more weeks later, especially after the consoles, because it's about all the secret stuff. But yeah, well, I can't talk about it, so yeah, I can't talk about it. I can't even type. The cat has taken over.
If you haven't been watching,
I saw a little
I can't do anything anymore. But literally, the cat was like coming up and was like, if you'll hear it in the files later, just purring into the mic from the other side. And I'm like, every time I try to move you, as you can see again, the cat is just like, I'm going to get that much more in your business right now.
Yeah, I like how you can just see the tail going back and
forth and back and forth. And the problem is my door is broken right now, so it's like I need to put a new door in. So I shut the door, and the cat can just push it open again.
So I have 3 dogs and a cat. And whenever I first started streaming, it was actually the first night I ever. Our back door was actually broken, and we had kind of makeshift fixed it just until we could go buy a new door, and it was just going to be a couple days. I heard a noise, and it was my dog who had busted through the back door, and as I looked over to see what was going on, he tackled me and pinned me down, and I tried to mute my mic, but I thought if I just unplugged my mic, it would just completely cancel all audio, so nobody would hear my cries for help. But then the webcam mic, it just randomly defaulted to that. So I'm yelling for my boyfriend who is in the shower and cannot to get this big dog off of me because he wouldn't let me up because he wouldn't quit licking me, and it was tragic. It was difficult. So larger dogs are a bit more difficult to deal with than cats.
I remember though when you just got your kitten and you were streaming. And didn't its paw get stuck in your hair during?
That happened.
I clipped it once. I think it was like the cat just started attacking you, and then just got like stuck in you.
So there was the one where he got stuck in my hair, but I think it was a little bit after that. I still was too dumb to not stream with the cat in the room. He started off biting my feet. So in the clip, you could see me going ow, ow, and we're in the middle of a boss fight. I'm trying to heal, and then he jumps up and latches onto my face, and he's getting my throat and my face and just biting me all over, and it was so and I'm still trying to heal because I don't want to let anybody die, but then I'm so distracted by this monster on my face that I died, and then I was able to remove him. It was difficult.
Hence the cat attack emotes that we're posting in chat as we speak.
Yeah, I have it here. It's literally I'm gonna post in chat the Twitch clip of that. So enjoy.
Hold on, before you do.
Yeah, our Nightbot is out of control. Wait for it.
Oh.
Wait, it didn't do anything?
It didn't actually post the link.
Oh,
okay.
That's why. I was like, wait, Nightbot? What superpower do you have over
Nightbot is
Nightbot?
relentless. It's
Yeah, I had to remove mine. We were discussing this earlier. My Nightbot started trying to delete my mods. I'm like, what is happening? So, Nightbot.
There you go. If you want to watch hilarity ensue.
Because you attack.
Now he's about 15 pounds, so he's much more dangerous. Decides to go into
Yeah, that's dangerously dense for a cat.
I'm sure there's a type of Khajiit for that as well. With the
So Cathay Rot.
See, I don't know. There's the humanoid Khajiits. There is the massive Khajiits that I hate because they are somehow taller than I am, and then there's the chunks.
The chunk. And the chunk rot, of course.
There's the actual cats. And then there's the Bosmer Khajiit. The small humanoids.
Oh yeah, the little weird ones with they don't have fur; they paint it on
Yeah, and then there's the
or
hair
tattoo
guy.
it on, I believe.
The the leader one, the hair guy.
The hair guy.
I feel like that one's not super canon.
Look, I know my lore, okay? I'm well versed in all of the lores.
We have all of the many lores. We have two people who I feel like could very easily confirm this.
And I should be right. I'm sure Alarra would confirm, like the cat Khajiit, big Khajiit, chonk Khajiit.
Lara's just gonna smile like politely and nod.
Typing up a list.
Yeah,
of-
sure. Okay. I'm a guest here, so I'm not gonna call Ark.
Yeah.
No,
Making
actually,
notes.
call Ark out.
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah,
shame.
just feel.
She's just making notes off to the side. It's like, okay, arc equals moron.
If we ever see Arkhaniir editing anything on the wiki, be sure to double check everything.
Double check, double. Oh, you're optimistic.
Drell silently judging you.
Okay, there's the actual names in chat.
Yeah,
by
no,
UESP.
Luckily, see,
Which are
it's
wrong.
almost which are clearly not canon, right? Exactly. It's like I said, it's weird that it's like we almost have like a mobile Wikipedia with us about the game that we talk about.
Also, though, the one that's not listed that I believe is your hair guy.
Isn't that the main? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. The main was not listed in there. Good job.
Good lord, that
I'm
was
not-
what you were trying to say?
What did you expect?
Well, when you said the hair one, and I'm like, well, that's 16 of them, so this is interesting.
During the game show, I wasn't sure whether to include him. It's like, well, he's kind of unique, but did they consider him one of the first acts? So that's why I chose to write it as 16 plus the main.
That was the best way you could have done it,
Yeah.
because no matter what, it was like, look, not only do I have the correct answer,
The
but
best part
screw
was-
you if you don't think I have the entirety of the correct answer.
Yeah, and then they even put up like in the answer the answer was 17 if you include the
Yeah.
main.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, you literally answered that.
Ultra correct.
Glad I wasn't there. Well,
Yeah,
team. Well,
I
the
mean,
team
I
should
think
be
that
glad
would've been
I wasn't
hilarious,
there.
actually.
I mean,
Well,
no
to be
way
fair,
you
I
would
could.
won.
Well, no, we just put you on Finn's team because that was
Oh,
he would have said Lyris's
Strategy.
golden locks was one of the types of Khajiit, and you would have said Chonk, the one with hair, the naked one,
That would
and
have
he
been
would
hilarious,
have
actually.
nodded politely and continued to write them on the chart.
do we actually see all 16 types of Khajiit in ESOs elsewhere?
Nope.
Okay.
No, there's some statues of some of them, but like of actual NPCs, there's only a handful of the types.
Yeah, I don't think we see any doggies or
Wait, doggies?
Zaji is a doggy.
Daji. Is he?
Yeah,
I don't
Is
think.
it or is it Daji Rot?
It might be Daji Rat.
Trying to remember.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem, is the rot versions of them always make it tricky because it's like, well, are there
It's
two of
bigger,
this type
but-
floating in game? Like that's one of
Yeah.
the things that's always
Yeah,
like
I-
weird.
I thought there was both. I would have to check the wiki probably.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up too. I can't remember. I know there's a couple that we didn't see.
Yeah. Now, here's the question: have all of them at any point combining all games been shown? Like, have
I
we?
don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what I was curious on. Have we?
Yep.
Are there
Looking
some that are still MIA after all of the games?
So looking at the wiki, the ones that we have not seen in any of the games are the Elfic Rot.
Which is if chonkers both. That's my new headcanon for that.
yeah, chonkers or Elfic rot. Yeah.
Yeah, do we count the statues as seeing them or no?
I mean, I guess kind of just because it's a visual interpretation of them, so I guess
Yeah,
that kind of could count.
Because that's the only where we've seen the Palmer Rot, right?
Right. So, okay.
And the
Dra-
Toge.
Statue. Yeah, actually, it looks like that's the one we haven't seen any sort of representation of. Everything else we've either seen in the games, or there's a statue of it, or legends art of some of them, like just the normal Sench and the Suthe.
Yes. Also, oh my God, on that note, shout out to the Legends art. Good Lord, that is gorgeous. So good.
I know, that's probably the saddest part of the like maintenance mode, is that we're not going to get new art because it's so good.
Here's a random piece of lore for you guys, since you're lore related. Where's my own emote? So this little Hermaeus Mora, sorry for anybody on the audio listeners who's not able to see chat stream. So this little Hermaeus Mora emote was designed by one of the UI art team for Elder Scrolls Legends.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he made it for me. And at the time, he was super excited to work on it. I knew him from Twitch. He's a streamer. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And he sent it to me. He's also done my thing with my actual emblem where it's the like smoky Hermaeus Mora and it says in Daedric script Lotus of Doom above it. He did that for me. And at the time, I was like, oh my God, this looks incredible. He's like, yeah. He's like, in a couple months, I'll tell you why I had so much fun working on this. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. And then when they had switched over from Direwolf Digital to Sparky Pants, he was like, okay, now I'm not under NDA. I was doing their UI, so I've had a ton of practice drawing all the things in Elder Scrolls. He's like, so I was super excited you contracted me to do Hermaeus Mora because I hadn't drawn him for the game yet, and I wanted to. And I was like, well, that's super awesome. So, yeah, any of my channel art is actually from one of the UI designers.
That is so
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yep. Kind of coincidental, but also awesome.
Oh, Lotus, actually. Go ahead with your pain, suffering,
All right.
Self-inflicted torture.
All right. So...
Can we preface this though? Can I read what your message to me said about tonight? This is how I want to preface this.
Yep, sure.
It said, let me see. We were talking about tonight. He said, I'll be fresh off getting my teeth kicked in for tonight's show. And it's going to be, at this point, I'm actually really excited to play. So how were your arena tales this week?
Okay, so much to anyone's surprise who was not there for stream, and Pixie actually was watching this for quite a while live, I can't believe how little I actually died.
It's amazing.
So I was trying to get the death counter to set up and work, which was not cooperating. And I was like, okay, Pixie, you're in charge. Keep track of how many times I die. And for 3 hours and 13 minutes, I did not die once. Wow. There were a lot of scenarios. Yeah, yep. There were a lot of scenarios where I was in a real bad way, including one of the times I tried walking up a ladder and I was like, I made it. Why am I paralyzed? And I was surrounded by a room of spiders who kept paralyzing me and biting me from different directions. But somehow I managed to not die, and I swung my way out of that mess. And everyone in chat was like, I don't understand how you're alive. There was like no health bar left. I was like, I'm alive. I don't know why I'm alive, but I'm alive. So I hid in the corner like a coward and tried to sleep on the floor, because that's how you do everything in Arena, is hide in the corner and sleep on the floor and pray that there are not enemies nearby. But I started this off. I was really in the mood to play because I wasn't able to play last weekend with PAX. And I went straight in and was in Labyrinthian at the start. I dropped off my crap at Winterhold to get repaired, like my weapon that actually matters and stuff like that. And it takes 13 days of gameplay to travel from Winterhold to Labyrinthian. And it takes 10 days to repair all my broken trash. So I was like, cool, by the time I get to Labyrinthian, all my gear will be fixed. But then on the same time, I can't use any of my gear because I had to leave it all back to get it repaired. I was like, we'll just do the best I can. I've got half decent stuff. So I went in, and Labyrinthian is a little different than it looks like in Skyrim, and Elder Scrolls 5 at least. All of the walls are made of basically like fungus, I believe was the best way it was put from Isha. It just looks like dirt and mold everywhere. I don't understand why, but the whole place just looks like dirt and mold. It is a straight up maze. The map was just, if you picture a spider web and those are actually all hallways, that's pretty much what the map looks like in that place. And normally there's a normal level and the under level, so to speak, where you can kind of like drop down and you can kind of like go into these little under pathways. Well, for some weird reason, this one decided it also has an upper level as well. The map is 2-dimensional, so none of this is shown. It's just varying degrees of gray. So reading the map is also impossible. And I roamed around kind of just with no direction whatsoever, other than I need to find the Staff of Chaos second piece. It took, I think we cleared the place in about 3 hours and 15 minutes was how long it took to get through Labyrinthian from beginning to end. The amount of riddles in this game, just straight up riddles. You'll get to a door and it's like, riddle me this. This ghost has this puzzle for you. And it asks you a riddle. And if you get it right, it congratulates you and lets you through the door. And if you don't get it right, it punishes you by releasing spiders or horrible things on you to kill you. Some of which are insta-gib mechanics, which are rough. But then the problem with the game is sometimes you get it right and you're rewarded with spiders and insta-gib mechanics as well. So it's really kind of a coin toss what you're going to get. But chat managed to fill in and help me solve the puzzles pretty efficiently this time. So got through. It was 3 floors of tri-level. How can I put this and not confuse myself? So each floor has a middle, an upper level, and a lower level. And there were 3 floors of 3 floors, if that makes sense. So the amount of travel you have to do was daunting at best, but the enemies were way less awful than in the previous place. The only enemy that was worth noting that was horrible was Bud Light Knight's dad from the dungeon. So there were no more Bud Light Knights, which were apparently ice golems. And shout out to your roommate, actually, who was watching this and guessed exactly what this thing was, or he had secret UESP knowledge and just kind of knew what it was. But I went around a corner and this thing is just enormous. It's like 90% of the screen. It looks like a pixelated version of the super robot Liberty Prime from Fallout. Or a really big RoboCop, which immediately everyone thought of you, Ark. So, from that ridiculous Ranger gif, kind of looked like that. Also, kind of moved like that. Not gonna lie, it just like its 3 frames would just jiggle back and forth, and it did outrageous damage. Its armor class was so high I wasn't allowed to hurt it. So I was allowed to run from it in varying degrees of fast to very fast or dead if it was going to catch me. But I believe it was Clerical Apathy who made the point of saying that when I first ran into this thing and I was like, oh my God, what is that thing? And he said Bud Light Knight's dad got called in after the last dungeon and now he's got the belt. So I spent the entire time running from that thing. Luckily, there were not a million of them, so they were somewhat easy to avoid because they were so huge they couldn't get around corners, and none of them blocked main rooms, which was incredible because that would have been a real problem since I had no capacity to fight it. Turns out they're iron golems or iron atronachs. That's what they were. That was the answer to the problem. So Liberty Prime is actually an iron atronach. The new ones the new ones, I don't know. I guess it's up for interpretation which one you like. You've got pixelated Liberty Prime, or you've got these really cool designed atronachs from the new dungeons. And so, take your pick which one you would prefer to have. But so I roamed around in there for 3 hours, broke a decent chunk of my gear. I think I snapped 5 swords just trying to get through there because there's so much crap. But got to the end, got the second piece of the Staff of Chaos, and I left so that I could go back to Winterhold. And I was all proud of myself because I hadn't died. And I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm not diseased. I haven't died. Everything's coming up exactly how I want. And as I leave, Jägerbron Tharn comes up with his little dialogue box and FMV video, and he's talking smack about how, like, oh, well, it's just a matter of time till I get you, and I'm sending my minions after you, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, I'm great. I just did all this stuff. This is a pretty successful stream. We're going to get back to Winterhold, and I'm going to save. So I load into Winterhold. And I read the description, the very, very elaborate description of Winterhold, because it does that every time you sign in. And I'm like, oh, it's nighttime. And I look over, and I have no idea what this thing is, but it's basically the size of the Mages Guild. And it's just this lumbering Goliath. And I'm like, what the? And this fireball just flies at my screen, just insta-gibbed. And I'm like, what? No. I was like, what was that? And that was just the end of me. So I had to reload, to which I realized I did not save after I picked up the staff. So I had to re-answer the puzzle again because I'm dumb. But yeah, Jägertharn managed to get that one knife jab in right at the end. I traveled back there and saved. So that's where we ended it. I'm not sure what that thing is. I'm not sure that it's not just waiting for me in the city itself, and it's going to kill me the next time I sign back in.
It most definitely is.
Yeah, so I have no clue what that monstrosity is, but it can do 100% of my health damage in like one shot. So I seem to be going from overpowered as hell to just getting liquefied into dust. But yeah, so 2 pieces down. I think we were doing quick math at the end of stream. I think I'm 14 hours in. There's only 8 pieces of the Staff of Chaos, and I clearly have 2 of them in 14 hours. I'm basically done with the game. I mean, it's going to be over before I know it. But yeah, much less death this time, much more success. I don't know, but dust isn't liquid. Look, it can be if I try, because one of the answers to one of the puzzles, I thought it was water. And shout out to Zero J, who actually realized that it was sand in an hourglass that we were looking for. So liquid led to sand, or dust in this case. So I'm going to go with that. That is how liquid and sand relate.
You forgot to mention the hardest boss that you faced.
Oh, yeah. So there are 2 segments of the stream that I solved. Well, I, quotes, solved. The chat and Zero J specifically, but everybody helped me solve the riddle doors. And they're like, oh, great, you solved the riddle door. Here's your prize. Here's your key to move on. I'm like, cool, it's a key. 5 minutes to pick up the key. 5 minutes, not like 5 minutes game, 5 life minutes of people sitting there just mocking me as I could not pick up the item, because the way that it's placed on screen, the key hitbox, I guess you'd call it, is very, very small, and it starts under the key. So it's like from the key bottom bit down to where the like lock parts are. it starts there and goes down. And if you back up too far, your stubby little T-Rex arms don't reach it. If you move up too close, you can't reach down far enough because it goes from being a like cross collection crosshair to being a would you like to move back crosshair, where if you click, you'll move back. So if I click when I get the X, I'm above it. And if I try to go down, I move back, and then my arms can't reach it. And it is the most pixel-perfect design where you have to touch the exact pixel at the exact angle to pick up the friggin' key. And there are two of them. It took us longer to pick up the key than it did to solve any of the riddles.
Amazing.
That was the real test of
Yeah, so that was the real test, and I believe several people pointed out that the real bosses of the game and the true end game is bending over to pick up the key after victory. So I did eventually get them, though. Also, you know what? This is PG. If you want to know what the emerald key looks like, oh no, the sapphire key. So there was a diamond key and a sapphire key. We've already brought up the fact that the show is to our best of our ability to be PG. If you want to know what the sapphire key looks like, because it's very suggestive, you can check out the clip on my actual stream, but I won't say what it looks like on this stream because then we will end up bordering into explicit town again. So yeah, design team a little weird on that emerald or sapphire key there. But that was pretty much it. I hadn't had as much game time, so I got through Labyrinthian. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go next because usually they give you a hint, and instead I got Jaegertharn just ripping on me and then blowing me up at the end of stream. So I have no idea what my next destination is yet. Elden Grove is where I'm going next? Interesting. Okay. Huh.
That sounds exciting.
That does. Oh man, yeah. All right. Now I'm amped up now. Okay.
Play tomorrow too and stream it so I can watch because I'm really addicted to this. Something about watching you struggle in arena, just my life seems so much better.
Wow. The shade is just thrown.
So let me put it this way. That would be sort of I was hoping from Labyrinthia again. So the one thing about that shade being thrown is that seems to be a very consistent opinion I have been sent off air from a lot of people that are like, please stream this more. It's really enjoyable to watch you have no idea what you're doing at something, but also show us what the Elder Scrolls games used to look like because I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
So I will happily take that incredibly oddly backhanded compliment.
Oh, I love it to death. It's great, and you're very entertaining the whole time. You're a really good sport about how many times you die, and it's just perfect. I love it.
I've accepted I've accepted just being dead a lot. This was a very strange change of pace this stream. So, but yeah, that's what I've managed to accomplish, and apparently, it looks like I'll be heading to Elden Grove next time, and I'll actually have my gear repaired. So I got that going for me as well.
Unless everywhere you teleport, there's a giant thing.
That's
and is not exclusive to Winterhold or Windhelm.
Yeah, I'm actually legitimately concerned that that's going to be a thing. Is that I need that's like a pre-scripted boss fight that I somehow have got myself trapped in is somewhat of a
slow
concern.
down.
Yes.
Fight everything.
Yeah, I need to get into an inn and distract. What I need to do is just get it so that it runs out of fireballs on all the citizens of Winterhold.
You don't need those guys.
And then once he's out of magicka, I can just run, actually, because I'm still probably not going to be able to kill him. But I can just grab my gear from the dead armor and just, like, peace out and just move on with my life. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me this week.
All right. Well, looking forward to next week and more arena suffering, obviously.
Yes.
Mine will most likely be hard mode, Storm suffering, so there's that. But I guess that brings... My brain just stopped. That brings us to the end of our show. Just hold on for 5 more minutes, brain. Come on. You got this.
I also like how, you stalled out on the words, the end of show. That was over the line. That was what did it. It's like, and we're out of fuel.
So what we do before we do our outro is everyone goes around, tells people where they can find them, what do they do, anything you want to promote, and if you have any final thoughts about the show as well. So Pi, let's start with that. Where can people find you, what you do, and all the things?
So you can find me on basically every social media platform at Pylawn, Pylawn, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, everything if you find me there. And then make sure you tune in and check out the Unofficial Elder Scrolls Podcast. We record every Monday night at 9 p.m. This week will be really fun because we're interviewing the Elder Memes. He is an awesome guy, and we're excited to have him on. So we'll be doing an interview with him.
That should be awesome.
It should be super fun. He's so funny, so it'll be really fun. And then make sure you can check out the podcast. If you go to uesp.net, you can find all the information there. And just check out the wiki.
Well, I mean, if anyone's listening to us and is not checking out the wiki, they've been so badly misinformed about everything.
Yeah, if you think this is the high bar, I mean... This is how I learn how to play these disaster games. It's just like I get reference points. You know what? I can plug your show right here, right now, on just how efficient your show is. I own the physical version of the Elder Scrolls 1 Arena. It's on my shelf back there. But rather than open the box and look up what the controls to the game are, I have your thing on screen saved on my phone because I can't figure out how to jump without help in that game.
And if you're getting your lore somehow from this show instead of UESP, you think that the main is called That One Hair Guy.
Yeah.
Look. The main might be his, book name or whatever, but the common, the
official name.
Yeah,
the common tongue refers to him as the hair one.
The hair guy, the Chong. You think Nords are running around calling all the you think Nords are running around calling all the Khajiit by their actual Khajiiti names? No. You look at it and you name it by how it looks. If it's small, it's tiny Bosmer Khajiit. If it's a massive big thing, it's a Chong. And if it's taller than you, it's ugly thing that should not be taller than you.
Another textbook definition.
Yeah. But definitely go check out UESP, both the website and the podcast and everything that is involved there. And Alarra, what about you?
I'm Alarra most places, except Twitter. I'm _Alarra_. Hoping to maybe change that at some point, but yeah, or else I'm always on the UESP Discord, discord.gg/UESP. And yeah, that's about it.
I didn't even know we could get, it was possible to get...
the custom URL?
Yes. Thank you.
There it is.
Yeah, it's it's possible if you're Discord partner, and I think it might be part of the. It might be part of the boosted server thing too now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go. Learn
tier
anything.
3.
Huh. I'm
terrible.
Don't even know
Sports.
how the
no
boost
idea.
thing works either. There's so much I need to catch up on. And Pixie, what about you?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/HyperPixie Gaming. I'm also on Twitter at HyperPixie Games because of character limits, and I'm on Instagram at HyperPixie Gaming also.
All right, and Lotus.
I am Lotus of Doom on pretty much everything, whether it's in games or Discord, Twitter. Long back, I'm on Twitch as actual Lotus of Doom now, which is a nice thing since I've gotten back into streaming again. And just as a reference point to the ridiculous run-throughs that I've been doing of these Let's Plays, several people asked if they can't catch me live, which I totally understand because time zones, as we prove on a regular basis, are a disaster. I have bookmarked these things as all of the streams of Elder Scrolls Arena, and going forward, I have them set so that they are listed in the Chronicles of and then the game title. So I'll be doing Arena, Daggerfall, so on, so on, so on. So if you can't catch it live, but you are actually interested in all the stupid crap that I do in these games, please feel free to check out the streams on my Lotus of Doom Twitter. They're there. They won't be deleted or anything like that. So they're there for you whenever you'd like them, as a lot of people were curious if I had another method of showing them to people when they're not actually live. They're there for you in case you feel like it. So.
Well, cool. Also, by the way, did you highlight them or did you just put the past broadcast itself? Because the past broadcast will get deleted eventually, while the highlight will survive.
Yes. So what I'm... hey, what's up, Ag? So what I've been doing is I am setting the broadcast themselves as a highlight.
Okay.
Because you can't clip individual... It's kind of weird. If you have a clip, that'll stay forever. If you have a thing where you set... what do you call it? I don't know why this has devolved into this. If you set...
It was a simple question.
I know. Because nothing is simple. That's why. If you set the stream itself that you had as a collection, that's the only way to save it in collections. It won't let you save clips.
Yeah.
So one way lets you save the clip, the other way won't let you save the clip, but it only lets you save the... you can use one for one and the other for the other. So there's a loop around, I guess, to do it. I don't understand why it's set up like that.
Well...
Enjoy that answer.
Yeah. I don't even know what she said. Well, you can find me sleeping, most likely. I'm just gonna skip. You can find... Oh, okay, outro. I got this. Final sprint.
The final countdown.
Well, you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you to UESP crew for joining us on this episode, and thank you for listening us and keeping us company throughout this episode. And we will see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark, down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.